Hello everyone, so we are continuing on our quest of solving equations. Now we started with basic equations, which were one-step and two-step equations. We're going to add a little bit more to that. Now we're going to add the distributive property and combining like terms. So let's go ahead and see what is our order in order to solve equations. So we call this our toolbox. So what's the first thing we should do whenever we get a more involved equation? And we call these multi-step equations. Let's just come and write that out. So we call that multi-step equations, meaning they have more than two steps. So we call these multi-step equations. So first step is we always want to take care of any distributive property because that comes from multiplication. So we always want to take care of order of operations in that sense and do any multiplication first. So first step is if there are any parentheses with a number outside of it, we distribute by using the distributive property. And I'll abbreviate it with the two letters. Now, next thing we do is we always combine like terms. That's our second step, which is pretty much adding or subtracting, which comes after multiplying. And we'll abbreviate that with CLT. So again, distribute first, combine like terms. Once you've done these two steps, you, for the most part, will usually have a two-step equation after that. So two-step equations, we always undo, add, subtract, and then we undo multiplication or division. So these are our four general steps in order to solve a multi-step equation. This is when there is only numbers, variables on the left side. On the right side, we only have a number. So tomorrow we'll get into the last step of multi-step equations. For today, we'll just stop here. So again, distributive property, combine like terms, then two-step equation, add, subtract, and then eliminate by undoing multiplication or division. So let's go ahead and keep it going. Let's go ahead and get into our examples now. So example number 1, we have the following. We have 7x plus 2x minus 5 equals 22. So in this case, there's no distributive property, but I can combine like terms. In this case, the 7x and 2x both have an x term, so we can combine them so we get 9x. Bring down our 5, bring down the 22. Then this is now a two-step equation, so add, subtract, divide. So in this case, we add 5 to both sides. That eliminates, it becomes a 0. And the right side we have 27. Next step is divide by 9 because it's being multiplied with the variable x. And we have x equals to 3. Final answer. So again, distribute, combine, then two-step equation. In this case, again, there's no distribution. We're going to go ahead and combine one more time, just like in the previous problem. So we get 2x plus 3 equals 11. We have our two-step equation. We're going to subtract and divide. Subtract 3. And then we're going to divide by 2. So in this case, x equals 4. Next problem, again, next two problems, you should try them out. Pause the video and then come back and check your answer. All right, let's see what you guys have. So again, we have another one where we combine like terms. They're just not right by each other. You have to remember that the m that's negative has an invisible 1, so that's going to subtract 1. So it's not going to be 6m, it's going to be 5m. So be very careful with that. So 5m plus 12 equals negative 3. Now we have a two-step equation, subtract, divide. So we get negative 15, divide by 5. And my m value is negative 3. Same thing for the next one. Let's see what you got. We have that invisible 1 again here. 1 plus 9 is 10k. Minus 5 equals 25. Again, we're going to add, divide here. We have 10k equals 30. And divide by 10, we get 3 as our final answer. So these are multi-step equations. They require 3 steps, combining, then the two-step equation. So that's how we can take care of those when it comes to combining like terms in an equation. Let's go ahead and see some where we're required to do some kind of distributive property or all the steps. So we look at number 5, 6, 7, 8. These all have the parentheses which means that the number outside multiplies anything on the inside. We distribute, so it multiplies both pieces on the inside. We have to make sure we're very careful with that. So a very common mistake is to do this and not actually distribute the -6 to the 4. So be very careful with that. Tends to be a regular common mistake. So again, this 6, that's negative, multiplies the x and the -4. That gives us -6x and +24. So it's not -24, it's positive because we have a -6 minus the 4. Two negatives, or a negative and a subtraction, is positive. And at this point, it's a two-step equation, so subtract, divide. So I subtract 24, and I divide by -6. All right, next one, same thing. We're going to distribute the 7 by multiplication. So we get 28 minus 21x equals -14. So again, now I have a two-step equation. Be very careful with this one. We do not add 21 because that has a variable. We subtract the 28, and we do not add the 28. We subtract that 28 because that's going to eliminate it. Cancel. Don't forget to bring down the negative. That's going to be -30, -42. And we're going to divide -21. And x is equal to 2. All right, number 7, we have a little bit more going on. But first and foremost, we're going to start with the distributive property. I always start with that first. So we're going to start by distributing the positive 6. So that's going to give us 12 plus 18x. Bring down the 5x. And bring down the 35. So we did the first thing, which is distributive property. Next, we're going to go ahead and combine like terms, which is the 5x and the 18x. So we're going to have 23x plus 12 equals 35. And then we now have a two-step equation, so subtract, divide in this case. Cancel. We have 23x equals, and then we subtract 23. Divide by 23, and we're going to get x equal to 1. And the last one, try it out. Pause the video and come back and check your answer. So you should have started with the distributive property, 2x plus 3x plus 15 equals 25. Next step is combine like terms. In this case, the 2x and the 3x, which is going to give you 5x plus 15 equals 25. So after distributing and combining like terms, you should have your two-step equation, which requires to subtract and then divide. So 5x equals 10. Divide by 5, therefore x is equal to 2. So always remember the order. Just make sure you're following it through. Careful with negatives. Careful with distributing, especially when there's a negative. All right, go ahead and start your practice pages, and good luck.